Hello, everybody. What's up? My name's Cameron. So today I wanted to talk about ballot harvesting. Kind of wanted to give you a visual of what ballot harvesting actually is. The election was June 2nd. I received my ballot about a month, and it was prior to the first debate that Spencer Pratt and Karen Bass and Nithya Raman were a part of. So I could have received my ballot and voted before even seeing the first debate if I wanted to. So early mail-in ballots, or you can go into the booth on June 2nd and vote. So I received my ballot in the mail, and I just want to break down really what harvesting is, because I feel like it's a perversion of the entire voting system. So I have a graphic here of a voter. So I support just in-person voting, or at least voter ID laws to be passed. But you show your ID and you go into the booth, you cast your ballot, and there's nothing in between you and the ballot box. You have the ballot and you're in the booth and you're all alone. You can't have any other people with you. No one is convincing you to do anything. This is your own decision. You could have been told by your wife to vote for someone prior, but it's you going in there and dropping the vote into the ballot box, or just casting it through the machine. Okay, so this is the classic way. And this is what got us through the majority of 250 years as a country, was putting a ballot into a box. And you made that decision, and there's no in between. Okay. And then I made this other graphic. And this graphic is ballot harvesting. Harvesting mainly comes from mail-in ballots, which you can mail it in, or you can just fill it out and then bring it into a voting location. You have a ballot on the left, and don't even really look at the check mark. The check mark doesn't matter. This is just a ballot. There's different ways a ballot can make it to the end result, a ballot box. Okay. But through ballot harvesting, which is legal in California, it greatly changes the game, because instead of the classic voter makes a decision, puts the vote in a ballot box, you have a mail-in ballot that comes in, and then a number of things can happen with this ballot. So it can be obtained by a harvester blank. So a harvester is anyone that goes out and seeks ballots to take to a ballot box. Okay. You can secure as many ballots as you want. You can have hundreds, I'm pretty sure, if not thousands. And I'll look back and correct myself over the screen if I'm wrong, but there's no limit on how many ballots you can harvest. So one person essentially could harvest hundreds, if not thousands, of ballots over the course of a month prior to June 2nd, because that's how long the ballots have been sitting in mailboxes. So you have harvesters that could potentially, and most of this is legal, what they can do. Okay. So someone who has a ballot could give a harvester a blank ballot, and they couldn't do much with this blank ballot because it's not signed by the person who is listed on the ballot. The ballot's going to have your specific name, and it's going to need your signature on it. Okay. So you can't really do much with blank ballots. If it's signed, let's say the voter that receives the ballot legitimately signs it and it's filled out, then most of the time, that's what we have here. It's signed and it's filled out, and then it's taken by the harvester and put in the ballot. But then you have signed and blank. So a lot of times these harvesters are trying to get a signed ballot. It just needs to be signed by the voter. And then a lot of times with these voters, they don't care they don't even know who is running. They're oblivious to the whole political system. But they have this ballot that they receive in the mail, because everyone gets one, regardless if you want one or not. And so they could either just be like, yeah, I signed it. I'm not really sure who I want to vote for. And a harvester can come in and possibly persuade the voter to go a certain way. You never know. It's very difficult to document and catch someone doing this in real time. And you can't say it's not happening because everyone has discussed who they're going to vote for. If you're interested in this race or any race, okay, you can persuade someone to sign it and fill it out a certain way. This happens all the time. All right. You can pressure someone into doing this. If you don't vote for this guy, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. They mock you, they do all this stuff. So this can be happening while you're just sitting at your house. You're just there with your ballot and you're just being persuaded or pressured. You could be tricked plenty of times where you don't know who these names are on the ballot, and someone tells you you should pick this person or you should pick that person. And then, sometimes people, they could sell the ballot to a harvester. Now, very hard to find, very hard to track. You get the idea. There's plenty of middle things that can happen from the mail-in ballot that is not in a voting booth, that's nowhere near a voting station, and getting it harvested and then going to the ballot box. This is a totally different system, and it's just open to fraud and manipulation and coercion, and it's just not the way that we vote as a country until 2020, widespread mail-in voting. So they had to use a crisis in order to mass implement this system that we're looking at now, which is a perversion of the voting system. And that's what I wanted to kind of just discuss in this video. I hope you learned something. I am against this. I think this is destroying the voting integrity of this state and all states that have ballot harvesting. I think it's disgusting, and I think it needs to be abolished.